You're listening to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. In today's episode, we're sharing the recording of our Winter Institute 2025 virtual orientation to help you prepare for the conference this month in Denver. See you there.
All right, everybody. So good afternoon. Welcome to our virtual institute orientation. This is the first time we're doing it this way. This is an opportunity for those of you who are attending the institute who have never been before, or maybe you've been before and it's been a long time since you've attended one of our conferences. This is a chance for you to just kind of get reacclimated to some of the things to expect. There'll be two of these sessions. The first one is today, and then the next one, if you want to come back and go through this session again, or if one of your fellow booksellers who will be attending missed it, the second session will be on Monday, February 10th at 12 noon. That one will be little earlier in the day to accommodate some folks. All right. And so just to get started, we are going to start off with some ABA staff introduction. So I'll start off with myself. My name is Camilla Clark. I am the Member Relations and Engagement Manager here at ABA. I am very excited to see you in person at the Institute, many of who I'm sure I've emailed or spoken with back and forth a lot throughout the past year or so. And I will pass it off to Ryan.
Hi, welcome all. I am Ryan Quinn, Director of Membership at ABA. I'm happy to see familiar faces and new faces here, and we will cover a lot about the Institute over the next hour plus. So happy to have you with us. Joy?
Hi, I'm Joy Dalla-Negra-Sanger. I'm the COO and working on Winter Institute with everybody here. We're excited that you're all here. It's a huge turnout. Thank you. Can't wait to see you all.
All right, thank you for those introductions. So before we really get into what to expect at the orientation, one of the things that what to expect at the Institute. One of the things we really love doing is introducing all of you to the Bank Foundation. Bank is a wonderful organization that does a lot of good for booksellers all across the country. And so we have someone here from Bank to basically introduce themselves and talk to you about all of the wonderful things that they offer. And so with that, I'd like to introduce Kathy Bardson.
Yes. Hello. Hello. Thank you for that nice introduction. And thank you for inviting us to join this great crowd. I'm excited to see everybody. So I am Kathy Bardson. I am one of a team of 8 on the Bank Foundation team. We are your safety net. If you don't know about us, we provide financial resources and support services for emergencies of any kind, pretty much. I mean, we definitely have some specific qualifying events, but we always say if you have an emergency or a crisis that's happened in your household, to give us a call and we will walk you through it personally. We have a person, her name is Judy Kelchek. She's our program manager and she walks every single person through their situation. Currently, we are working with 21 stores and individuals who have been affected by the wildfires in LA, in the LA area. But even equally important, we're working with the same number of people with what we call sort of everyday emergencies. They're not a natural disaster emergency. So we're fielding about 30 calls for help every week, which is up significantly from the last year. It's good people know about us. So we're here to help you. We also offer store employees and owners mental health wellness support. So we have a program if you are feeling stressed, if you need some extra support, you can give us a call. Does not require a financial need like our other financial assistance does. So we say just call, go to our website, and you can see there's an inquiry form right on there. Everything we do for booksellers and store owners is done in an anonymous way. The only person who knows is our program manager. So it's a hard call to make to ask for help, and we know that. So we make sure that your situation is personal, it stays personal. So that's an important thing to remember. We're also offering for a short period of time a program called Best Money Moves. So what we've learned is it's a mini pilot that we're doing right now. We haven't officially made it a pilot. We're just kind of testing it out, but we thought this would be a really good group to share with. It's to help with personal finance and coaching. And again, just contact us and we can help with that. Let's see, we will be, thanks to the ABA's generosity, we will have a booth at in the vendor showcase. So please come stop by, meet us. Our executive director, Pam French, will also be there. We can answer questions. We can give you materials. So just giving you an overview right now, but please come and ask us questions when you're there. And the other thing we do, thanks to the generosity of both the ABA and Arcadia Publishing, we have a really fun fundraising event that we do at Winter Institute called Heads or Tails. And you'll see the registration information that you're getting from the ABA, there'll be a link. You can buy a pin ahead of time. If you know somebody that's going and they can't attend, but they want to still support, they can pin it forward. They can buy a pin, and then we'll have a pin to give away to somebody who might not be able to pay for an extra pin. So it's a nice way to support your fellow booksellers, and all the money comes back to us because of the generosity of Arcadia and the ABA. I think I touched on pretty much everything I wanted to. Just a really quick, brief overview, but we are your foundation. You do not have to be a member. The only qualifying event is that you work or own in a bookstore or comic store. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Yeah, once again, even if you're not sure, if you have a qualifying event, just reach out to Bank and get as much information from them as possible. Like I said, they're awesome, and they've done a lot of good for a lot of booksellers. So thank you, Kathy. All right, so now I'm going to pass it on to Ryan, who's going to talk to us about everything from rules, tech, to how to navigate the Institute.
Thanks so much, Camilla. So we're going to spend some time starting off with some housekeeping. Just a brief reminder for this call specifically, if you can keep your video and audio muted until we get to the Q&A portion, it will just help everyone's experience here. Save your questions until we get to the Q&A portion. We'll have two. We'll have a portion specifically for questions for ABA, and then we'll have a Q&A specifically for some of our booksellers who are here who are going to be sharing their tips and tricks for attending and making the most out of Winter Institute. It helps to jot down your questions as you go along. We will be giving you a lot of information over the next hour or so. So as we go through it and you think of a question, jot it down so that you remember it when we do get to those Q&A sections. The slides of this orientation are available in our app, which we'll talk about a little more in a few seconds. So you will be able to reference back to this up until the trip, during the trip, and even after the trip if you so choose. And then a recording of this session will be available on bookweb.org in our on-demand education sessions and on our podcast, Book It, which I never do as well as Lee does. I'm going to have to get some more training on that. Antitrust guidelines. Some of you may have heard me say this very often. For those of you that have, sorry, you get to hear it one more time. Booksellers are encouraged to share ideas and support during the conference, but the Sherman Antitrust Act prohibits them from discussing price or pricing policies, boycotts, and dividing up the market. You can click on the link to view the full antitrust guidelines on bookweb.org. And please keep in mind that this actually applies to all instances in which booksellers are gathered, whether virtually or in person at our events. The app, it is available for you to download. Please note, we are still adding some things to it, so y'all will be the first booksellers who get to see it. Count yourself special, if you will. You can scan the QR code to be led to the app to install it, or once you have access to the slide deck through BookWeb, you can select the download the app. Anyone who wants to do so while this session is going on by scanning the QR code, if you need any assistance, you're welcome to drop a note in the chat and I will try to help you from there. If you need assistance after this session and you'd like some, please reach out to Winter Institute at bookweb.org and we'll be happy to help you download it and get it set up. It's really important to use. You can use it to connect with other attendees. You can review the program and appearing authors. We have a really neat social wall feature, and you can use it to book one-on-one appointments. For those of you who attended CI 2024, it is the same app with some improvements. Accessibility. Priority seating will be available at the front and back of the rooms, including standing tables. We will offer a quiet room where it will be quiet. There are no meetings to be taken in the room, no talking. It is really a space for you just to go and have some quiet time, maybe personal reflection, or think about some of the things you are already learning, or just get a nice quiet break. For those of you that may need it, there will be a lactation room available. That information will be available in the program, as well as an interfaith prayer and meditation room. Coming back again this year are assisted listening devices, which will be available at the welcome desk for keynotes. You can stop by and pick them up at the welcome desk prior to the keynote, and then at the end of the keynote, you will drop it back off. You will sort of sign them in and out as you would a library book, and you can pick them up more than once if you need them for each keynote. Gender-neutral restrooms and ADA accessible restrooms will be available. Those will be noted in the program as well. And on the map, there will also be clear signage available throughout the event for you to locate them. You're also welcome to find an ABA staff member and ask them to direct you. Many of you can also drop by the welcome desk and we'll be able to direct you from there. Live captioning will be available during keynotes and feature talks. Slide decks and handouts will be available in the app. Again, another reason for you to download the app and get it set up ahead of time. And then coming back again for this institute is our FastPass sticker. We have turned it into a sticker instead of a card this time for those of you that made that request, so you don't have an extra thing to hold. It is a sticker that will attach to the bottom of your badge. It is meant for buffet lines and author signing lines. So for those of you that need one, if you didn't request it during registration, have no worries. You can still request one when you come to the welcome desk for your badge, or at any point during the event that you realize you'd like one. And for those of you who don't need them, please just keep an eye out for people with badges that have them and allow them to move to the front of the line, whether it is the buffet line or author signing line. Navigating the Institute, some tips to help you get through it. Have a pen and paper handy or utilize the Notes app on your phone. Wear your badge at all times. Some of you may not be in the Sheraton Hotel. It would stink for you to have to run all the way back to your room to get your badge. So try to remember to have it with you. You can also stop by the welcome desk. Your badge will have your name on it, first and last, as you provided them at registration. Your pronouns, if you provided those. Store name, city, state. Towards the bottom of your badge will be your Rep Picks table assignment along with the room number your table will be in. And if you opted into the buddy program, your buddy table number will be there as well. And as you can see here in this image, the FastPass sticker will be sort of placed down in the middle of the bottom of your badge. For Rep Picks, please plan to attend and stay through the entire Rep Picks rotation. And if you're someone who gets slightly anxious, like me, plan your next day ahead of time. That is another reason to download the app. You can even start doing that now.
All right.
I am
Awesome.
going to kick it over to Camilla so that you can hear from her for a little.
All right, thank you, Ryan. All right, so I am going to give you some general event info. All right, so first and foremost are appointments. So there are a lot of different appointments that you might make throughout the Institute. If you have pre-registered for a session or made an appointment, if you have an assignment that you find that you can't keep, please do your best to let the person who is waiting for you know. If you are unable to find the person who's waiting for you, please flag an ABA staff person down or just go right to the welcome desk, or you can even email winterinstitute@bookweb.org. That's kind of the catch-all for all questions about Winter Institute. If you did not already make an appointment with Batch or Edelweiss, we highly recommend that you visit their vendor tables to learn more about those services, how they can help you in your business, and how they contribute to the ABCs of an indie future. If you're not sure what those ABCs are, you will see those signs near the welcome desk. And you can also find that information on bookweb.org. And you will also be able to speak with our CFO, PK Sindwani, about Abacus. He loves talking about all things Abacus. If you have any questions about Abacus, please find him and he will be more than happy to speak with you about that. And you can also email bestsellers@bookweb.org about how to report your book sales to BookScan. Another very important component in the ABCs. All right. Next is networking. So this is a big one. The opportunity to meet fellow booksellers is one of the most valuable parts of the event. And honestly, it's not just the Institute that gives the opportunity for you to network with booksellers. It's really just the ABA universe as a whole. But we've heard from many people that going to these institutes is really one of the best opportunities to get to know fellow booksellers just like you who are doing the work every day. We know that it's easier said than done. Don't be shy. Introduce yourself. Tell folks about what store you're from, ask where they're from, just talk to them a little bit about how you came to be a bookseller. And trust me, people are probably as equally as shy and nervous as you are. You can easily end a conversation with like, hey, I've got to keep moving, but it was great to talk to you. If you find yourself having to make it to another session or another appointment. And don't forget your business cards. This is a good opportunity to give out your business cards, offer one in exchange, and for easy reference later, make sure to write a note on the back of the business card that you receive to remember what you discussed with that person. All right. And coming back once again is our Buddy Meet and Greet program. Our Buddy program allows first-time attendees to meet with booksellers who have previous experience with our institutes. And this is an opportunity for buddy leaders to provide guidance on how to have the best possible institute experience that you can. If you've already signed up to be a buddy leader or a buddy, you can go to the Plaza Ballroom, BCEF, and that will be on Sunday, February 23rd, from 4:30 to 5. And once again, your table assignment will be printed towards the bottom of your badge, as shown a couple slides ago. All right. Opening reception. We would like for all of you to join us at the opening reception on Sunday, February 23rd at 5:30 at the Fillmore Auditorium, which is off-site. Beer, wine, soft drinks, snacks, and the company of all of your fellow booksellers from all across the country. ID is required for entry, so please don't forget your ID. Feel free to seat yourself at any table you'd like and move around, network. Light refreshments will be served buffet style, and transportation will be provided. Okay. The galley room. For those of you who have never been or have never experienced the galley room, I'm very excited for you because the galley room is quite the experience. So just to explain, the galley room is a very large room where you will have the opportunity to view hundreds and hundreds of books that have yet to come out, and they are available for you to take. The galley room will be located in the Majestic Ballroom on the Majestic level, Tower Building. Again, this will all be in the program. And the galley room is going to be open Monday through Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So basically all day. And also very important to note is that a FedEx shipping desk will be open during those same hours. Books in the galley room are for the taking, but we ask that you please only take one copy of each title. And if you notice that any particular pile is getting low, just take one to share amongst the staff at your store. Please don't take multiple copies of one particular title because we want to share the love. And finally, you can ship your galleys at the FedEx shipping desk. Each box will cost $3 to ship. And if you haven't already, double check your partnership FedEx account. Check that information to make sure it is up to date and that the credit card on file is valid before you get to the shipping desk. Trust me, this will save a lot of time. And some more information on the galley room. If for some reason you don't want to use the FedEx shipping desk that'll be in the galley room, there are other options available near the hotel where you can ship your books home or to your store. Okay, so there's a FedEx office that is a part of the Sheraton, which is right downstairs. There's a FedEx office at the Hyatt Regency, which is about a 5-minute walk. There's another FedEx office, and then there's, of course, a UPS store, which is a little further away. This is another important thing to note. When it comes to FedEx specifically, a discount only applies with prior partnership sign up, okay? So if you don't already have a partnership account and you go to ship your boxes at FedEx, don't expect to receive a discount. All righty. And finally, drink tickets. So you will be given drink tickets. Your yellow drink ticket is for the opening reception at the Fillmore on Sunday, the 23rd at 5:30. Once again, the drink ticket can be used for water, soft drinks, hard seltzer, wine, or beer. Once you've used the drink ticket and you want more drinks, the bar accepts cash for additional drinks. Okay, so keep that in mind. And just a quick note for those who may be attending the Ignite Pre-Con. If you are attending the Ignite Pre-Con, you will receive an additional drink ticket, which will be a green one, and that could be used during the authors and editors reception during the Ignite portion of the conference. All right, so I'm going to pass it back over to Ryan, who's going to give us some FAQs.
Thanks, Camilla. So a question we are often asked, when are you feeding me? Saturday, for those of you attending the Ignite Booksellers Pre-Con, food will be available at the authors and editors reception.
Huh?
On Sunday.
It's just for, it's like literally
On Sunday, we have a opening reception where a light refreshments will be served buffet style. Then on Monday, you will have breakfast provided, the editor's buzz lunch, and then light refreshments will be available at an evening with Avon Books, Epic Reads, Harlequin, and HTP Books. Moving on to Tuesday, you will have breakfast again during the keynote, a Indies Introduce lunch, and then our evening author reception will also have light refreshments. And on Wednesday, you kick off with breakfast again at the Publisher Picks presentation, and then have lunch available at the author reception. Please keep in mind, some of these are buffet style, so this is an instance where you will look for anyone with a FastPass sticker and allow them to move to the front of the line. We appreciate you all putting kindness first to do so. And then for any of you looking for dinner plans, some of you may have already received publisher dinner invites. If you did not, stop by the area near the welcome desk. There will be a board posted where any available opportunities to join a publisher dinner will be listed there for you to take. And probably more important than when are you feeding me, where can I get coffee? Coffee will be served with to-go cups at breakfast on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, at lunch on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and during the rep picks at 11 a.m. on Monday and Tuesday. If you need to be more caffeinated than that, we do have some nearby options outside. There's a Starbucks, Delectable Egg, Little Owl Coffee Tremont, and Does Bog Coffee, all within walking distance. Trying not to only survive on caffeine, get some water in there too. Affinity groups. If you are not familiar with our affinity groups, they are a chance for members of communities to come together. We offer affinity groups for our Black communities, BIPOC community, LGBTQIA2S+ community, disability community, and the neurodivergent community. They are created to allow members an opportunity to gather for connection, support, community resources, and networking. You can visit the program for specific days, times when those sessions will be held. On Saturday, as part of the Ignite BIPOC Bookseller Precon, there will be affinity groups held for the Black community, the Indigenous community, Latina OX community, Hispanic Chicana OX community, and the AAPI community. Please do note, while allies are greatly appreciated, these are closed spaces available only to the individuals who identify as members of those communities, and allies should not plan to attend. However, if you are in the process of exploring your identity and relationship with a particular community, don't self-reject. You are welcome to attend. What is an author reception? For those of you that may not have attended one of our events, you may be wondering about this. It is dozens of authors and illustrators who are on hand to chat with booksellers and sign new and forthcoming titles at the author reception. Some highlights are that the books are free, authors are seated at the tables, and booksellers will get in line to have the book signed. Please be aware some authors may ask you to wear a mask. We will have masks provided. You're also welcome to bring your own with you. And again, this is an instance where you will be asked to keep an eye out for FastPass stickers and allow those with limited mobility to move to the front of the line. Self and community care, super important, folks. Be gentle with yourself and gentle with others. Make sure to take your breaks, wear comfortable shoes, and be aware that altitude sickness is a condition that can occur when visiting Denver. Staying hydrated and giving your body time to adjust really helps. I am not a medical doctor. Don't take that as medical advice. And locate quiet rooms, which will be in Governor Square 17, Concourse Level Plaza Building. Again, this space is not meant for meetings or conversation. It is meant to be quiet. That will be available Sunday to Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Wednesday 7 a.m. to 4:30. Most importantly, pace yourself, but have fun. I think it'll be a little hard not to have fun, but definitely seek it out. So we are now going to take Q&A. If you have any questions specifically for ABA, feel free to go ahead and drop them in the chat right now, or you are welcome to unmute your video to ask your question. Let's see, what is a rep pick? So rep picks will be publishers presenting to you upcoming titles for you to consider hosting in your stocking in your store. You will remain at the same table throughout rep picks, and the publishers will rotate through them, sort of like speed dating. Mila, did you want to add anything else to that, or Joy?
No, I think that's the perfect way to describe it. It's like speed dating with publishers. They just want an opportunity to talk with you in more detail about titles that they're excited about that you might want to carry at your store.
And
And it's
Kelly, I
another
see your follow-up question. You do not have to sign up for rep picks during registration. You did give an indication of whether you prefer to attend a mix of adult or adult and children's, but otherwise you're automatically assigned to it, and that assignment will be placed on the bottom of your badge so you know what room and table to go to. Let's see, I know I jumped a question and keep in line with that one. How to get from the airport. Well, there is a super shuttle available, which you can look into and book in advance. That information is on our event website. Camilla, could you drop that link into the chat? You can also take a Uber or a taxi service to the hotel. We have a travel section on the website that Camilla is going to drop into the chat.
Sorry, Ryan, you cut out a little bit. What do you need me to drop in the chat?
The link to the Winter Institute page on Swoogo.
Oh, okay.
Let's see, other questions? Give me 1 second. I'm checking into the chat here. Samantha, if you did not sign up for a buddy already, you can just email winterinstitute@bookweb.org. We'll be happy to add you in. Lisa, you pick up your your badge and your welcome bag at the welcome desk. So that will have hours each day, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, so that when you arrive, you can drop by and your badge prints there live for you on site. And we give you your welcome bag filled with some interesting things for you to review. And if that doesn't answer your question, please let me know. Sabrina, the only items you had to pre-register in advance for are bookstore tours and the Indie Commerce Workshop and the Pause Bookselling Institute. You are looking to attend a bookstore tour and you haven't signed up yet, let us know. We do have some space still available. There is not an official dress code, but for the most part, I would say it is sort of business casual to casual. Key things are to dress comfortably, wear your most comfortable shoes. Take my advice, do not try to break in new shoes during this week. You will regret that choice. Think about layering. Hotel spaces can sometimes be cold, and then suddenly you can shift and be warm. So think about bringing something you can add on if you need to, or take off if you need to. Sometimes people choose to dress up for some of the evening events, like the receptions, or if you're invited to a publisher dinner. So you can keep that in mind. If you were invited to a publisher dinner, you may want to check with them what restaurant it's at and then reach out to the restaurant as far as what their dress code may be. But ultimately, be comfortable and be you. Savita, if you would email winterinstitute@bookweb.org, we can certainly help you determine when you'll be able to set up your table. Shout out to Kathy, who has placed the link to purchase Blinkies ahead of time. Definitely do so. They are really, really cute. I kind of adore my collection that I've started to accumulate from years past.
Ryan, just real quick, excuse me. I'm having trouble getting out of my screen share. Would you mind finding that Swoogo link to?
Yes, I will drop that in.
I don't know what's going
Claire, we will check on that and get back to you. And Joy, for those of you asking about transportation, Joy has also dropped a link into the chat for transportation info from denver.org. And Deborah, who actually is Denver based, has shared some information about the A-Line light rail. Thank you, Denver. Mara, we can follow up with you after this session as well and help you get situated with that. Gal, the stores listed for each tour are on the page on our event platform. I'm going to drop that link into the chat momentarily. Hi, thank you for the light rail information as well. Carolina, we do have pop-up meeting spaces available if that's what you mean. But if I'm misunderstanding your question, please feel free to reach out to winterinstitute@bookweb.org and we can figure that out with you. Kelly, you will receive a tote bag as your welcome bag, so you will definitely get that when you pick up your badge at the welcome desk.
Although it doesn't hurt to bring an extra one, considering how much stuff you might end up accumulating.
That is very, very true. I've seen folks go past the welcome desk with 2 or 3 tote bags on each arm filled with books.
Right.
Elizabeth, correct. The pause workshop takes place at the same time as bookstore tours. So if you're signed up for that workshop, you would not be able to go on a bookstore tour, but you could certainly try and find time on your own to create your own tour. And yes, coat check will be available. Well, coat racks will be available. Deanna, I see your question regarding if we're doing rep picks and want to create a handout, what's a good number to print, but I'm not sure I understand. So if you'd like to unmute yourself or clarify in the chat.
Yeah, just how many people, if it's 4 sessions, I was assuming it's going to be about 45 per session that we'll see. Is that correct?
I'm going to tag Joy in here.
Hi, Joy.
Hi, Dina. You should have gotten the guidelines around it. I asked Jess to Slack it to me so I can respond to you because I think people don't want handouts and we end up throwing them out, but I'm not positive that I'm right. I could be wrong. So I know there are guidelines that you should have gotten, but I will drop them in when I get it.
Yeah, just as an FYI, I did create them, whether I was supposed to or not, for Children's Institute last year, and people really appreciated having them because there's the picture. I put the picture of the cover, and people could make notes on those. So
Got it.
just an FYI.
Okay, thank you.
Abby, if you are not sure if you signed up for the buddy program, you can log back in and check your registration. You can also just drop an email to winterinstitute@bookweb.org and we'll be happy to check that for you. And Alyssa, I'm going to post the link to the app information again in just a second. It looks like I've gotten through all of the questions, so I'm going to turn this back over to Camilla for the next portion of this. And don't worry, we're still together for a little bit of time, so if you think of another question, keep dropping them in the chat and we'll take it. Camilla?
Thank you. So one of the things that we definitely wanted to add to this virtual institute orientation was some tips and tricks from your fellow booksellers who have been to these institutes before. These are people who will be able to tell you what to expect at these institutes from personal experience and some things that have worked for them. So without further ado, I would like to, well, first of all, thank you so much for giving us your time and being here and offering your advice. I would like to introduce you to Frederick Rosero from Oblong Books in New York, Dara Landry from Class Bookstore in Texas, and Kai Berner from Bookworm of Edwards in Colorado. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. So yeah, I'm going to actually turn it over to you. Well, let's start with Kai. Kai, do you have anything of note that you'd like to share?
Sure. So yeah, I am Kai, like Camilla said it, from the Bookworm of Edwards in Colorado. I'm pretty sure I was trying to do mental math real quick. I think this will be either my 11th or 12th institute. I think I could be wrong on that. But so I've done a few of these. And I think that like the number one tip that I have for people is definitely, especially if it's your first time, look at the schedule ahead of time and plan out your schedule. Because once you get to the institute, there'll be so many things to look at and so many places to go see and so many people to talk to that it's really easy to just feel overwhelmed by the amount of really great content and sessions that they always have. So really kind of look at it ahead of time, figure out a schedule that works for you. If you are chronically ill or neurodivergent like me, pre-plan your breaks. Because that's super vital too. It's really easy to lose track of time. And suddenly you're dead on your feet, tired, and you still have 3 things to do because you missed your one opportunity for a break. So really look at like your schedule breakdown, and kind of work that in for yourself. That was said a couple times already, but as someone from Colorado, please drink about twice as much water as you think you do, especially if you're coming from a low elevation. Like literally, if you're coming from somewhere lower than Denver, you'll probably want to drink at least twice as much water as you normally do in a day. If you will be consuming alcohol, please drink a glass of water for every drink that you drink because you will get dehydrated very, very quickly. And you can lay yourself out for a day or more with altitude sickness, and it's really gnarly. So just make sure you're consuming enough water, make sure you're getting enough sleep. I know we all love to party, but take care of yourself. I think that another thing is to be kind to yourself during the institute. And if you are feeling really burnt out, really tired, you do not have to go to everything. It's great to try to go to as much as possible. But if there's a session that you're just like, I would love to hear about this, but I just can't do it. You can always look for, handouts or session notes in the app later. You can talk to someone who was there and get some notes. It's not worth running yourself into the ground to try and make it to absolutely everything because it's back to back to back programming for multiple days in a row. One thing that I feel like is kind of a little secret that I'm going to spill here is that in the galley room, there are boxes the FedEx desk has a lot of boxes. And so one thing you can do is grab a box at the beginning of the institute, write your name and your store name on the outside and kind of line it up against a wall. I don't think this is an official process that the ABA ever greenlit, but this is what we all do because we've decided it's what we do. So you can line it all up on the wall, and you can use those boxes to really consolidate your arcs. So if you're traveling from out of state and you do want to ship them from FedEx, you don't have to cart them back and forth to your hotel room every single day. You can leave them in the galley room there. No one will take them. It's really an honor system. But just make sure you label it with your name and your store name so you can easily find it and keep track of where it is in your own head so it doesn't get lost. Because some people will stack things on top of it or in front of it because there will be 100 boxes by the end of the week. So just make sure you kind of keep a note of generally where it is. And I will say tote bags are great. You might want to bring a better bag, like a backpack, or something that has a little bit more of a supportive strap system to it, because you will suddenly find yourself carrying 10 books and not know where they came from, but you just kind of have them. If you're anything like me and I look down at my hands and I'm I didn't remember picking these up, but they all look great and I wanted them clearly, but now I have to deal with them. So having something that might be a little bit more better for you, especially like I said, if you have any physical limitations, illnesses, disabilities, anything like that, just make sure you're accommodating for those as best as you know how. I will also say that those affinity groups are really great for meeting friends, or even just a friendly face in the con. I know that there's, you're going to be in a sea of people, a lot of whom you don't know. So having one or two contact people to just be able to lock eyes with across the room and be like, oh, I know that person, I'm going to go have lunch with them. Kind of helps you feel a little less alone in the sea of people. Everyone is very friendly, but I'm also very introverted. So I know what it's like to look into a dining hall of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people and have to pick a table to sit at. So it's nice to know some people. Yeah. And I think that was the end of my rapid fire tips.
Okay. Thank you, Kai. And also thank you for just mentioning again the affinity groups that happen at the institutes, because I think that it's a really great additional way of connecting with somebody who you don't know, that you can kind of see, like you said, across the room and be like, hey, I know you, and sort of find a safe space with somebody. So yeah, if you did not sign up to be a buddy and you don't have a buddy leader, the affinity group might be a really great alternative. The affinity group might be a really great alternative to just, meet other folks. Some people may have been to the institutes before, some of them have not. But yes, thank you for bringing that up again.
And you also informally know me. I can't guarantee that my hair will still be pink, but it will probably be a crazy color. So you'll be able to pin me out. So come and bug me too if you have any questions.
Thank you, Kai. Dara, what wisdom do you have to impart on all of us?
That's a lot of pressure. Come on, wisdom. But peace, y'all. My name is Dara Landry. I am the co-owner of Class Bookstore here in Houston, Texas, with my husband David. And so I'm coming behind God. This is only my second time coming. I was learning stuff in orientation. I said, I should have really paid attention last orientation. These are some good information. But so I can say everything everybody else said. I'm probably just gonna say it, but my tips and tricks. The galley room, if this is your first time, it really threw me off to see people putting their books in boxes on the side of the wall. Because I'm from Houston, I'm from a city. I say, they gonna steal them. I was very nervous, but they do not take your books. I was like, this is precious. So you will, and Kai is being very modest. It's a lot of boxes. By the end of the week, you will have 4 boxes of books, possibly. So my tip that I will even push out further is that I would take time after several, I would stop by the galley room several times a day just to unload. So I wouldn't find myself my shoulder all tore up from carrying books. So just make time to go back to the galley room, find your little space with your boxes. There are markers in there, but if you want to bring a big Sharpie or a colored one so you kind of know where your stuff is, make sure you mark it and then kind of unload throughout the day in the galley room. It's a great place to leave your stuff. Do that FedEx, because I went to regionals before I went to a ABA event, and I was like, I'm gonna fly Southwest, baby. I'm gonna load 2 suitcases and take these books back home on the plane. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
You can just get the FedEx account in like $6. I think it cost us less than $200 to send them home. It was like the convenience of it was amazing. So definitely, I cannot recommend getting your account and doing that. The last day is when everybody ships out. So if you want to do it the day before, or you want to do it as, I've seen some people ship every day as they go along so they don't collect, but the line is very long at the end of the week. So if you could kind of be like, all right, this is my cutoff for shipping things home, and you try to get it done the day before or very early on that last day, make time for that. The other thing I think I wanted to say, oh, and as far as carrying books, I'm testing this out this year, y'all. So I don't know if it's a tip or a trick. We'll see if it works. But I did invest in a Hulking bag, and it's the tote bag on wheels. And I'm going to try that for carrying books this year. I don't know, Joy, if y'all gonna let me bring it. I was like, I don't know if that's against the rules, but I was like, I'm gonna try a Hulking bag and see if that works. So yes. Also for education, there's so many. You're gonna look through the schedule, and I do recommend you familiarizing yourself with the schedule before you come, just so you can have a plan of what you want to do. But for the schedule, to me, there's so much great education. But think about your store in the next 365 days, what you want to do in the next year at your store, because there are going to be some great things that would be awesome for my store down the line. But when I prioritized the education that I went to, it was for things that were really useful for me in the next year to 2 years. Like, okay, I really can take this back and implement this knowledge. And so that's kind of how I was able to decipher which education I wanted to attend, which was most important. Like I said, everything is going to sound good, and you're going to be like, oh my God, this is happening when this is happening, and I want to see this, but I want to do this. But really prioritize yourself with what does my store, where's my store today, and where am I trying to see it in the next 1 to 2 years? Because, and then the rest of the education, you can get notes. A lot of it, I feel like is going to be recorded, and you'll be able to go back and look at some other things too. So I would focus that way, and just as you're trying to decipher. Rep picks is overwhelming. Just take your time and relax, because this is a lot of people talking to you very fast, throwing a lot of information at you. You're not doing it wrong. Take in what you can take in, take notes the best you can, and then just relax. And I think this whole experience, my biggest tip is that you should just relax. It is a lot of people. It's a lot of information. If you're anything like me, you are in this moment, living the dream. You're like, oh my God, I opened my bookstore and now I'm at a booksellers conference. And you are going to be like amped up. But drink water, relax, and just take it day by day, and you'll be good to go. I condone, like Ty, if you are interested in bugging me or avoiding me, I respect either choice. But if you see me and you want to speak, my hair definitely won't be like this. So I'll still have the red glasses, but the hair gonna be there. I'm not even tell y'all no lie. It's gonna be braids. But please, definitely, if I can do anything, let me know. So I think those are the main things that I would say.
Dara, thank you so much. Yeah, I don't underestimate the power of the galley room. The last Winter Institute was my first one, and I remember telling everybody at ABA, like, I was being like very demure, very I was like, oh, I'm only going to take like 5 or 10 books, and everyone laughed and laughed and laughed, and yeah, I took more than 10 books home. It was a lot. So all these tips are very good for me as well to remember. The line does get long. Someone in the chat actually mentioned something else too, that they brought their own pre-printed shipping label. So when your box is done, you can just slap it on. That will save some time, but for sure that all those were really, really good tips. And especially the ones about prioritizing which sessions you want to go to, because you're going to be so overwhelmed. There's so much to learn and to look at. And I know you want to be able to be at multiple places at once. Unfortunately, it's not possible. So just, read through the program as best you can and just try to prioritize what would be most relevant for your store. That was great. Thank you.
Borrow your phone for a sec.
Okay, Frederick, last but not least, from Oblong Books.
Hello, I'm Fred from Oblong, in Millerton, New York, primarily, although I moonlight in the other store occasionally. I've been there for about 3.5 years now, and I'm now a member of ABA's BAC, as well as my regional associations, advisory council. So, life comes at you fast when you go to these conferences. My first one was 2023, and now I've been to a bunch and I'm involved in a lot of things. So, don't be surprised, and you try not to dive in too deep because you will wear yourself out, but it's really easy to get super enthusiastic. Darren Kai's tips were great. They were a lot of the same ones I wrote down. I would definitely second not beating yourself up if you can't make it to everything, because for me, I really just want to experience it all. But if I'm not feeling well, I'm not going to enjoy it. And speaking of not feeling well, a lot of people do mask at the conference, but I would suggest thinking about masking the week ahead of time as well, at least when your store is busy, because if you are sick with some kind of virus or bacteria on top of the potential altitude sickness, you will not be able to do anything at the conference, and that would be a real waste. I would say have a plan if you know that you're a picky eater. The ABA does a great job of feeding us at an incredible expense that is hard to believe. But they only have so many options. And if there's something you don't like, that's really common, you need to, plan for that ahead of time. And I would especially say when you first get there, after you get settled in, spend a little time wandering around and exploring the venue and getting kind of the lay of the land, because one of the most stressful parts is, all right, you have your plan, you know what panels you're going to, you're ready, and then, oh wait, where is everything? And then you're rushing in between. And if you have at least a general idea ahead of time where things are, that will save you a lot of time and stress. Also seconding making connections with other people. For a lot of us, we're introverts, and it's very easy to just stick with the other people from your store that you know. But as everybody's been saying, the value is really in the other booksellers and the other ideas you'll experience. So get people's emails, follow up. I know a lot of people like to make connections with other stores that share their same ethos, kind of their same goals. Also, sometimes the same POS system. Some of us have slightly more obscure ones, and all the tips that you can get from other people are helpful. And I guess my final thing is that for the galley room and all of the books you'll be getting, it can be helpful to have a list of the interests of the other booksellers at your store and go in with a plan. And if you don't know their taste ahead of time, you'll have it written down and be like, oh, Lisa would like this, Allie would like that. And then you can plan ahead and not grab every single book that you see.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you so much. Yeah, these were all really good tips. I hope you've all been taking notes. Because there's so much value in everything that they've said. Yeah, and I'm sure as you sort of move through the Institute, you'll come up with your own sort of like tips and tricks for what works well for you, or things you might want to add on later. So this is the second Q&A that we will be doing. This is a chance to ask questions directly to the booksellers, or if you even have some questions that you thought of from earlier for the ABA staff here on the call, feel free to put it in the chat or unmute your video and talk to us that way. Any questions?
Whenever the chat is oddly quiet, I always think, oh, we gave a lot of information there.
We did.
There is a map of the hotel in the welcome bag. It is part of the program that you will receive. There will also be signage around that directs you to specific areas as well.
To answer the question about early check-in and how likely it will be, I mean, if anybody else wants to jump in on this, it really sort of depends hotel to hotel. There's, one institute where I arrived very early and they were like, right this way. And then there was another one where I had to wait until the room was ready. So I really do think it just depends. Does anybody, Joy, Ryan, any of the booksellers, do you have similar experience?
I would say, Camilla, you're right. I mean, if you really need to check in early, your
Mhm.
best bet would be to call ahead
Yeah.
now to see if you can get early check-in, but they will then at least have it on record. Doesn't guarantee it, but you might ask.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So in terms of the galleys changing each day, they're pretty much the same, but from what I remember, there might be some additional titles that are put into the galley room as the days go on. Some of them from like the author reception that maybe weren't there before will get added to the galley room, things like that. So for the most part, it's the same, but it definitely is worth taking a look as the hours and days go on because there will be some new titles there, but they don't, there's not like a drastic turnover every day.
And can I also add that in the galley room, I think what happened for me last year is like when they first open it, you're just kind of in there judging books by their covers. Sometimes some of the books you immediately recognize, some you don't know. But as the Winter Institute goes on, you get pitched books at Rep Picks, or you get people talk about books and they've been in the galley room for several days. So you might go back through and check because it's been on the table the whole time, but you hadn't heard the pitch for it. So you're like, oh, wait, that sounds really good. So it's almost like a new experience some days because it's like, oh, now I got pitched that book. Now I want to get it. So there's that too.
Yeah.
I
Thank
also
you.
will say the inverse about the galley room. Sometimes I get really overzealous and I pick up things that I don't actually end up necessarily needing, or I'm like, oh, my buyer said we already have a copy of this at the store, and you can just go put it back on the stack. There's no shame in returning things to the stacks in the galley room sometimes.
Oh, not at all. Yeah. Like sometimes there's like there's like a things reach a fever pitch in the galley room sometimes where it's like supermarket sweep where you just kind of want to grab everything. And then later when you look at it, you're like, oh wait, actually I'm not interested in this at all. This really isn't my vibe. So like just put it back because somebody else will take it. Trust me.
Mila, I'm gonna jump in real quick. I wanted to mention that although providing your food allergies was part of registration, do keep in mind that most of the food in the evening receptions is served buffet style. So, take note of the labeling of the food and keep an eye on that yourself. We do relay food allergies back to the hotel, but always best for you to double check. And you're always welcome to grab an ABA staff member or a hotel assistant around to ask them as well.
I'm checking on the hotel key. I've been to this hotel. I cannot tell you how many times, and I cannot remember. I think it just goes to your floor, except for meeting floors, but stay tuned.
Yeah, I think I've also been to this hotel and I can't remember.
Because we go to so many.
I know.
Yeah, but
all I can remember specifically about this hotel is that the first time I was there for my first Winter Institute at ABA, I chose a dress that matched the carpet identically. Like I could have just blended into it if I laid down.
And yes, the guest room keys go only to the floor where your room is.
I want to make sure I grabbed all the questions in the chat. Oh, did we answer the question about the map of the hotel in the bag? Yes. Okay.
In the program, in the
Yep,
printed program.
got it.
And
Thank
I
you.
think it's going to be on the map too. I mean, on the app. The app
Yes.
map. Yeah, the map is on the app.
Map is on the app. All right. Any other questions? Feel free to ask. No question is too silly, especially if this is your first time. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. I don't know if this is the right forum or not, but tell me to be quiet if need be. I received a scholarship to attend and wanted to know when more information would be communicated regarding the hotel.
Yeah, you should have already received your hotel confirmation. I know you had emailed and I confirmed it had been sent. If you're still not seeing it, I will follow up with you after this.
And I don't need anything other than that confirmation.
You do
Correct.
not need anything other than your confirmation to check in.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question in the chat. Does every meal have allergy accommodating options, including the opening reception, or should we bring food just in case? Excuse me.
I guess it depends on what allergy. We're very, very careful about the foods we choose. So unless you have really, really extreme, very specific allergies, you should have options, but it really depends on the individual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as you especially want to keep in mind that a lot of it is buffet style, and so there's the opportunity for, again, if your allergies are very severe, there's the possibility of some kind of like cross contamination. So maybe bringing your own food just as a backup, so you absolutely have something to eat. But yeah, I think it depends on your allergy. Parking options.
I think
So
that
the Sheraton has both self-parking and valet options. Valet is $59 a day and self-parking is $49 a day. Joy, do you by any chance have information on the other hotel options?
I do not handy, so I'm going to have
We
to
will
look into
follow
that.
up on that and make it available on the travel page of the website.
And speaking of the app, when is it officially going to be available? When is it going up?
The app is available now. We are still adding a few things to it, but you can certainly access it and start to review content now. Jim, I will drop the link information into the chat again. And Lauren, yes, our ABA options are actually vegetarian first, so there will be lots of vegetarian options for you.
Oh, excuse me. You're welcome. All right, I'm just going through here, making sure we didn't miss anything. While I'm looking, is there anything else that folks want to add? Oh, one more. Are table assignments for vendors available in advance?
Hi,
I'm
Jim.
asking, I'm checking.
Thanks, Joy.
Thank you, Joy. Any other questions? Also, yeah, I just want to remind everybody on the call that this is the first one of these that we're doing. We're doing a second virtual institute orientation that's going to be identical to this one. That'll happen on February 10th. Either this one or that one will be available on BookWeb for you to view. we're just going to figure out which one is the better one before we decide. But this will, the slides from this will be available in the app, and this video, either this one or from the next session that we're having, will be available on BookWeb.
The slides for this session are actually already available in the app under the event information section.
Right.
So feel free to check that out there. And remember, if you are having any trouble accessing the app or getting set up, again, that's a perfect reason to reach out to winterinstitute@bookweb.org. We'll be happy to help you out with that. Last call for any questions, either for us at ABA or any of the booksellers who provided their tips and tricks, Kai, Dara, or Fred. Susan, yes, the app code is capital W, lowercase I, 2025.
Thank you, Kai. Another thing I'd like to add, if you're at the Institute and you find yourself with a really pressing Institute specific question, go to the welcome desk, or for some reason, if it's after hours and you can't find an ABA staff member to answer your question, people will be checking the Winter Institute at bookweb.org inbox as often as possible, so you can email Winter Institute there. Do I have to be a bookstore owner to take advantage of the FedEx partnership program?
You have to be a member of ABA, and you do sign up through if you're with a bookstore, you sign up under your bookstore. Ariel, I unfortunately don't know off the top of my head if you are a bookstore, or if you're perhaps with a publisher or someone asking that question. But if you want to reach out to us further, we can certainly provide further assistance how to get set up for that.
Bookseller, okay.
So Ariel, you would just sign up under your bookstore. You might want to check with your owner because they might already have a FedEx partnership that you could just use while there.
You're welcome. And definitely everyone, please check the status of that if you already have an account, even before going to Windsor Institute, if you're able to. So that way everything's already set up. It'll be smooth and ready to go. All right, last call for questions.
Camilla, I'm close to having the answer about meet the presses and vendor showcase tables.
Okay.
I think.
Hi, Dara or Fred, any last parting words of wisdom?
Have fun and dress warmly in layers, because that big coat situation is weird when you're there and you don't know what to do with your coat. I live in Texas, so that's always weird for me, like the adjustments of trying to figure out where to put this big A coat because I don't need it because I'm inside. So this year I'm gonna try layers. But have fun. It's gonna be a good time.
Mara, we're gonna email you about the bookstore tour situation.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, I got your email. Write this down.
You're welcome. We hope you learned a thing or two from this session. We're really looking forward to seeing you in Denver and meeting you all in person. It is definitely I know I can speak for myself and everyone here when I say it is a highlight for all of us that throughout the year we get to see all of you in person at these events. And definitely drop by the welcome desk. You will for sure be able to find myself and Camilla there often. And I'm sure other ABA members, ABA staffers as well. And the education team is super excited to see you. Lee is in the chat shouting out to all of you. I think we can follow up with those of you that asked about your vendor or press table after this.
I think Joy put it in the.
I did.
Perfect. Thanks, Joy.
I did.
Yep. Vendor showcase and meet the press table numbers will be available in the next couple of weeks.
Sooner
Well, thank
rather
you,
than later,
everyone.
probably, but I'm just not promising.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in Denver in a few weeks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. Additional educational resources can always be found on the ABA website at www.bookweb.org. Happy reading!